Alright, what's going on, guys? So I was looking back at this post that I did back in December of 2011. And basically we were there, we were looking at diffs, what we had on the cars, and then what would what transmission you would use and what the miles per hour would be. So using this calculator, it's just some online calculator I had used for consistency. I used the same one, which is someone had created, some Angel Fire. But as you can see, you put the RPMs that you want, then the final gear that you have, then the transmission gears and the tire diameter. Once you put those in, you hit compute, and then you get your miles per hour here. So, in order to get your manual transmission gears, you go to the FSM, and when you're there, it's going to tell you the gear ratio for each gear that you are. Then you also go to the FSM, and based on the rear diff that you're using, you'll put that in, which is right there, that gear ratio. So once and then also the tire calculator. Tire calculator is just simple. You go, you put in your size of your tire, and then you get your diameter. So now, based on that, I went and I did my figures. So when we're looking at this column here, it says 25.7 diameter tire. That is my 275/40 17 Mustang Cobra wheels. That's what I'm running. So if I were to, this is all with the 6-speed tranny, all going to 7,000 RPM, and the only thing that I changed were the rear ends. So this rear end is the twin turbo R230V that I'm going to be putting in my car. So first gear goes up to 38 miles an hour. Then let me get my mouse showing. Where the hell is my mouse? Oh, there it is. Alright, then as you can see there, second gear goes to 62, third 89, 114 for fourth, fifth gear's 144, and there. So it's all you also can read. Then let's say if I were to go the 3.538, that is a Q45 diff. It's an R200V, but it's a lower gear ratio, which means slower acceleration, but more top speed. So when you go here, you're looking at 39 for first, 65 second, third, fourth, and this is all fine and dandy. But here is what I was talking to you guys about in regards to Fast and Furious shifting. It looks like this one here, this 3.961, that is the J30 diff that I previously have in my car, or had personally, past tense. And you can see first gear would only go to 35, second gear would fall short under 60, third gear would be 83, fourth, sixth, and when you go higher, like, well, not really higher, but when you start going in miles per hour, yeah, I'm never gonna do 170. I'm never gonna top out sixth gear at 7,000 RPMs, or even fifth gear. Well, yeah, fifth gear I probably would, but yeah, you see, it's like, and then that's the other thing too. We're over here talking about different diffs. Oh, let me go to this one real quick. So now I did the same calculations, but as you see, I did with a 28-inch tall tire. So that, or diameter tire. So that is equivalent to like a drag radius of a 275, 60, 15. You can see the 2 miles per hour change. In second gear is a 5 mile per hour difference. Third gear is about 8 mile per hour difference. Fourth gear is about 10. Fifth is going up to 157. So if I probably am gonna go with a taller tire like that, because I want to have more traction, and that's going to be my way of making sure that at least when I'm thinking in the track, yeah, I think I'll have to make 4 gear changes. I'll probably trap, I would say maybe around 140 maybe, I don't know, hopefully. So if I'm trapping at 140, that means I'm gonna be in 5th gear, you know, passing the line. Let's say if you were over here with this J30 rear end, 5th gear ends at 135. So if I were going to be trapping, let's say around 140, that means I would have to switch to 6th gear, which would most likely lower my ET, but just, you know, increase my mile per hour. And you know, that's all fine and dandy for the drag. But my main thing, you know, this is a street car, and like I said, I'm not going to be, you know, doing 140. Never mind. I'm not going to be speeding all the time, but when I do, I don't think I'm going to be hitting, you know, 150. You know, 150s, you know, shit happens, man. A lot of shit can go wrong. But what I'm looking at with these figures is that I'm really going to be stuck with this 3.692. The 3.538 is a nice option as well, but it's kind of hard to find Q45s right now. You know, that's you know, basically it is. So these are the numbers that I have, and we'll, you know, see. I'm gonna do some quick calculations because I want to see in 6th gear, if I'm doing, let's say, 80 miles an hour, I want to know where my, what's that thing called, my RPMs is going to be. So I'm going to come right back. Alright, so I went and I put in these figures. What I'm doing is now I'm playing with the really, I'm changing the RPM, but everything else is stagnant. The gear ratio is the R230. The transmission gear is 6th gear, 0.794. My diameter is a 275/40/17. And then what I'm doing is I put in figures here to find this 80, you know, thing. So if let's say you're in 6th gear and you're doing, you know, 4,000 RPMs, that means I'm going to be doing around 104 miles an hour. So I keep changing this until I got to around 80, which is around 3,100 RPMs, and I'll be doing, you know, close to 80 miles an hour. So cruising on the highway, I'm going to be doing revving at 3,100 RPMs. Now let's say on the street, let me go down to 2,000. So in 6th gear, doing 2,000 miles an hour, even though I really don't travel 50 miles an hour, that's not going to work for me. I usually do about 60, and that's being conservative. But even this, 2,500 RPMs, I'll be doing 65 miles per hour. So that's not too bad. I can live with that. Now let's increase my, let's say if I had the tall tires on there. If I'm doing 2,500 in 6th gear, I'm going to be doing 71. But let's say we go down to 2,300 RPMs, and I'm doing 65 again. And so if the previous one was 31, let's go to 2,800. Maybe I'll be doing 2,800 at 80 miles an hour. Roughly. 28, let's go 2,900. Yeah. So probably about 2,850, I'll be doing 8,000, I mean 80 miles an hour. So that means that, you know, going to taller tire, which, you know, I will definitely do, is gonna, you know, help me get the gearing that I want. So that's what's up. I mean, I don't know how good this calculator is. Like I said, I just use it from previous ones, but since I'm, you know, referencing that from, um, my old posts, that's what it can, could be. But I believe it is wrong. I should, try another one and see. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try another one and see, because based on my posts here, where are we at? On this old one, I had said that in fourth, or let me say more third gear, that third gear doing 7,200 RP or 7,000 RPMs, I would, hit like 113. I never got up to that or even that. I think in third gear, I maxed out around 105 miles an hour. Now, yes, that is going with the old ass speedo that's on my clock, but it's kind of say is the speedo was not as accurate on higher RPMs, or really the other main issue too was that I swapped out the transmission. Although when I did my testing of RPM, miles per hour compared to GPS, I was 3 miles an hour slower than what was shown on the speedometer. So maybe this could be right. Maybe I was getting up to that speed, but I'm gonna double check and make sure. Alright, so I ended up finding this site, wallaceracing.com, gear-speed, PHP, cold fusion. But anyhow, you got this calculator, you put your tire diameter, your transmission gear. So I ended up doing 1.271, which is 1.271 is fourth gear on the 6-speed, and the numbers did line up right. And it looks like my old post I had something wrong, because this looks ideal. That at 7,000 RPMs I was at 106.31, and when I shifted at 7,000 in third gear with the J30 rear end and the Z32 transmission, I was around 105. But that's totally different. But anyhow, this one's pretty cool, because then when you ask you for different gear ratios, you can put 3 different gear ratios, what I did, and then it breaks it down by the RPM. So if you guys want to play with this, or you're looking at gearing or whatnot, this is another cool, useful site. But alright guys,